At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too. Because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. Just want to show you this real quick before it goes out of the shot. Because it was doing this during the opening, it was an elk. Now it's walking out of the shot. But at least you got to see it at the very, very top. Good morning, everyone. How you doing on this Wednesday morning? Maybe we'll see more elk. I'll keep a close eye on that camera, and we will take you to it because it's always fun to see those elk, especially when you're out there. You know, it's that famous spot, right? We'll take you back to that camera. You know, you see it every time you drive down Highway 101 there, between basically Trinidad and Oric. You start seeing possibly sometimes some elk, and you got to be careful sometimes because they can roam around on the highway too. But this is one of our favorite spots. My wife and I love to go out there, go camping out at Elk Country Resort, and many times, you know, you wake up in the morning and elk are hanging out on your campsite, so it's always fun. Oh, looks like if you look real closely, you might see it. There's one just kind of hanging out at the very, you can't really see it on the camera there. Oh, yeah, it's trying. It's trying, but you can't really see it. I mean, they're barely out of the camera. Oh, well. No fun. No fun. I mean, fun, but it'd be nice if we could maybe... Let's see if that truck... Sometimes you know, especially because they're there, they tend to slow down so they can check them out. Looks like that truck is kind of slowing down a little bit. All right. Enough of that. Hey, good morning. How you doing? It's Wednesday morning, and we are enjoying ourselves a beautiful start to the day here. Hey, I wanted to show you this. People have been sharing their photos here from last week in particular. Yesterday, a beautiful sunset picture. This was sent to us by Don Banning, and this is in Anderson looking out at the thunderstorms. This was last Wednesday. So you think about all the thunderstorms that we just saw last week, and this is just one of many towering cumulus clouds. Now, if you want to share your photos just like Dawn did, or I believe that was her name. Let's just go back. I always forget which one it is. Yeah, just like Dawn did. There you go. Yes, if you want to send a photo just like Dawn, you can do that from the free Weather NorCal app. Just search for Weather NorCal space between Weather and NorCal. Download the app for free, and you can download the pictures just like, or upload the pictures just like that to a website that I go to, and I can very quickly, easily share them with everybody. So check it out. All right, for those of you, if you're in a hurry, let's get you right to your Krueger's Quickcast for your Wednesday, August 6th. Well, it's going to be a warming trend. This is going to continue. We're really not going to notice a very big increase in our temperatures today. It's going to be about the same. More clouds, number one. And number two, temperatures about the same. It's tomorrow. It's this weekend in particular that we're really going to start to notice those temperatures. Upwards of 106, 107, maybe 108. Not as hot next week, but it will start off hot. Eventually, temperatures closer to normal by the middle and latter part of next week. But just looking at the long range, looking down the line here, sunny, hot, and dry. Sunny, hot, and dry. That's typical for August, isn't it? Temperatures low 60s for most of you in the valley. Although, look at Chico, 70 degrees right now. 65 degrees, that is, in Oroville. 43 in Alturas, and temperatures mid to upper 50s for the coast at the current hour. All right, let's get you out the door out there this morning, and you can see just a couple of passing clouds already this morning. Some fog on the coast, low clouds, really. The valley, the sunny skies, temperatures low 70s by 8 o'clock this morning. And I do expect temperatures mid to upper 50s for most of the higher elevations, although in some of the eastern mountains, low 60s. So the winds right now, they're not that bad. But later this afternoon, all right, they'll pick up a little bit here. 15, maybe a little over 20 miles per hour, especially for the north and west side of the valley. And then by tomorrow morning, a little breezy. In fact, notice the winds on Thursday morning. They're coming out of the north. So we're going to be looking at more of a north wind. And as you know, north winds around here are not a good sight because it just dries things out even more, unfortunately. So looking at the satellite image, look where all the rain is. It's mainly over the Pacific Northwest, as expected. Now, you see that dip in the jet stream? See those clouds approaching Northern California? That's a weak disturbance. We're going to the tail end of that, and that's why we're not expected to really see any rain out of it. However, when we look at Futurecast, all right, maybe a few sprinkles for some of the higher elevations. But see that boundary pushing on through? So by midday, I think we're going to be looking at least partly cloudy skies. You'll notice a more high and even some mid-level clouds entering the picture here. Now, look what happens. We go in about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's actually picking up on maybe a little bit of rain out towards the eastern mountains in Modoc County. Will this reach the ground? Most likely not. These are some high-based showers, so they're pretty high up in the atmosphere. So by the time that light rain, because it's not going to be heavy, by the time that light rain reaches the ground, it will most likely have evaporated. So if you see a sprinkle or two for some of the mountains, anywhere in the mountains really, don't be surprised, but don't count on it. So if you have outdoor plans, if you've got work outdoors, don't worry about getting rained on. Then by 6 o'clock this evening, just a couple of afternoon clouds, and it looks like some more fog developing along the coast this evening, tonight, and even into tomorrow morning. All right, so here's what it looks like for today. Temperatures in the mid to upper 90s for your daytime highs. Not much change from yesterday. 80s for most of the higher elevations and upper 60s for the coast, that is. For tonight, temperatures mid to upper 60s for your overnight lows, a lot like what we saw this morning actually, and for tonight into tomorrow morning. 52 degrees for Aden, 49 for Alturas, temperatures mid to upper 50s for the coast. Let's take a look at that 7-day outlook. It's warming up. I think Redding could possibly see 100 degrees by tomorrow. But it's really Friday through the weekend. We're talking temperatures over 100. Could we talk? I mean, we're getting closer to 110. I don't think we're going to quite see 110, but it will be close. And with temperatures like this, I would not be surprised if we started to see some any kind of heat type of watch or warning. We'll see. But bottom line, just be prepared for the hotter weather. And here's the thing, you know, we talk about this. We're used to this kind of heat, right? But here's the thing. We haven't seen heat like this very much this summer. So we've been really acclimated to these more mild temperatures for this time of the year. And then suddenly, boom, you get this heat wave and it can have an impact. So just be prepared for the fact that if you have outdoor plans this weekend, it's going to be hotter than it has been for a while. And so maybe readjusting those plans, maybe getting out earlier, maybe going out later in the day, making sure you've got plenty of water, right? Just some things to think about as we go into the weekend. For the coast, temperatures upper 60s to even some low 70s, even warmer on the coast. Inland, you're going to be looking at, and as well as Trinity County, you're going to be about 100 degrees or so by Friday, and then above 100 degrees through the weekend. So even in the mountains, it's going to be rather hot. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to be in the mountains, no big deal. It's going to be pretty hot, even hiking in the mountains. For Siskiyou County, Modoc County, the Eastern Mountains. Now, most likely, for the most part, staying below 100 degrees with the exception of Susanville, but still hot, mid to upper 90s over the weekend. Upper 90s continue into early next week. All right, that's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast. If that's all you needed, have a great day. But stick around. We're going to talk more about the fires, what's going on with the latest on the fires. And, of course, as you know, the fire weather forecast is sponsored by Garmin's Tractor Service. So we're going to start off by taking a look at any heat signatures. You see a lot of yellow, or some, not a lot, but some yellow on the map there in southwestern Siskiyou County. That is coming in from the fire in western Siskiyou County, which is the Big Cliff Fire. Now, as of yesterday, 6:49 p.m., it has grown to 754 acres, about 7% containment, still that evacuation warning. So we've seen it grow, but we've also seen the containment grow as well. And I want to show you this. We're going to go into here. Where is it? I've got so many tabs. All right, so there you can see, I've circled it. See that little orange dot? That little orange dot is some of the heat being thrown from the fire, from the satellite image picking up and detecting that heat. A lot of times when the satellite can detect that heat, that means that the fire is active and burning hot. That's what you'd expect when you see a heat signature, right? Because we're really not seeing any heat signatures coming from any of the other fires. No, that's not a heat signature. It looks like it is, but it's just hot. Okay, but yeah, you got coming in from the Big Cliff Fire. So I just wanted to show you that. And another thing I want to show you, remember even earlier this week and late last week, there were a lot more fire icons on the map. Why? Because we saw a lot of lightning spark fires, a lot. And, but the good thing is none of them, or majority of them, let's put it that way, a majority of them never really took off. And the firefighters were able to really get a handle on them. So the fires are still out there, even though we're not seeing the fire icons, but the firefighters are really on top of those other fires, and we're able to really extinguish many of them, which is good. But the fires you see on the map here, they were all started by lightning strikes over the last month or so. Some obviously larger than others, some taking off more than others, but for the most part, we've done pretty well so far this season. All right, now we're going to take you to, I want to show you this too, because just kind of show you that the Big Cliff Fire, just to show you the terrain. It's very, number one, rural and very steep, challenging terrain for the firefighters when you're looking at the Big Cliff Fire out there in southwestern Siskiyou County. Now, I guess some of the closest communities would be out towards Scott Valley, which we'll get into that here in a second, but I wanted to show you some of those latest heat signatures. Looks like mostly burning on the north and even a little bit on the south end of the fire, where we've seen the most recent activity here. But as I was mentioning, it hasn't changed as far as grown any closer to the community of Etna. Yesterday I reported 11.8 miles. Today, reporting about the same, because the fire is mainly growing north or south a little bit here. The Green Fire, as of actually 2 days ago, 5:39 p.m., no new reports coming out of this one, still at about 90% contained. We may see some new numbers coming out of it here later this morning. The Butler Fire, as of yesterday evening, 5:52, 21,058 acres. The containment has grown 1%, but that's always good. We want to see that from 93 to 94%, and there's all of the evacuation warnings associated with it. Okay. All right, now we're going to take a look at the smoke forecast. I'm still keeping a close eye on the elk camera, so we can bring you back to that if we have to. See a family walking along. Fun. All right. Squirrel. All right, anyway, forecast smoke. You know, the Big Cliff Fire is the one that's really producing most of the smoke, and most of that smoke is going to stay within the vicinity of the fire itself. We may see some haze, a little bit of smoke out towards southern portions of Scott Valley. You know, parts of Siskiyou County like Mount Shasta may see some of that haze and smoke. And then maybe even northern Trinity County seeing some of that haze. And it looks like it's trying to work its way. We may see a little bit of haze tomorrow morning for the north end of the valley, but it won't last for very long. And then that kind of spit a little plume of smoke there into northern Trinity County, looks like by tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. So the winds right now, they're really not all that strong, but they will be picking up later this afternoon. There you can see upwards of around 15 over 20 miles per hour. That's going to elevate that fire weather risk. But really, I'm more concerned about Thursday, because look at Thursday morning. We go into this, excuse me, not Thursday, it's Friday. Look at Thursday afternoon, actually it's not that bad. You can see the winds generally around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Now it's Friday, couple of things. Number one, you notice the winds picking up. See the green and a little bit of yellow on the map, that's 20 to 30 mile an hour winds, 20, 25 really. But it's out of the north. We really haven't seen any big, strong north wind events, which is obviously a good thing. But now we're starting to see those winds pick up a little bit out of the north, and that is going to dry things out. So as a result, we look at the fire weather risk for today. It's moderate to high. That's the orange on the map. Now, as mentioned, the winds won't be quite as strong for Thursday, and that's why the fire weather risk will drop a little bit here, low to moderate. But again, I don't want you to go, oh, it's okay, I can burn or I can mow the lawn. No, not a good idea. Not a good idea when it's hot and dry. So we can't let our guard down. Just know that conditions are improving. It's better. But with those north winds coming up on Friday, already starting to see that fire weather risk bump up to high by midday on Friday, most likely getting well into that high range by Friday afternoon. All right, I'm going to take you back to it because it's kind of fun. I've been noticing here. So you can't see it just yet because, again, remember I was mentioning it's on the left side of your screen. They're just off of the screen. You know, let me see. I know I can do this. Let me see if I can, nope, that's not the one. That's not what I wanted to do. I can adjust the camera. Let's do that. Let's see here. There we go. There we go. That's where the elk are. See that? We have a little bit of elk. Now they're running away. It's like they know I'm trying to get them on camera. Oh, that's fun. Well, there you go. That is the latest look at the elk country cam. I'm going to put it back to where it normally is because this is just kind of a nice shot of the schoolhouse. Maybe one more punch over. And you can see that little family over there. They're checking out the elk off in the distance. And they're keeping their distance. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do in this situation. All right, we're going to take you back to the cameras here. There it is. There's Lake Oroville. You can see the sunny skies there. A little bit of haze off in the distance. I'm going to take a look at Lake Oroville, North Forebay. And you can see a little bit of haze off in the distance, but still looking at those sunny skies. Not much in the way of wind this morning. That's always good. There is a look at Highway 32, Main Street, Chico. Looks like they still have some of that road construction going on. Look at the traffic this morning. I wouldn't say bumper to bumper, but you certainly have people going out to work this morning, that's for sure. Highway 99 at Neal Road is what we're looking at there in Butte County near Chico. Highway 44 at Sundial Bridge Drive. Now again, just take note, this camera does not have any motion to it, but it does update regularly every few minutes or so. This is about a 4-minute-old image, but still a good representation of what's going on. Sundial Bridge Drive on Highway 44. Look at Crescent City this morning. Absolutely gorgeous. Ooh, a little batch of birds went by. But you can see some of the high and even some really mid and low-level clouds. So really not very foggy. And those clouds that you're seeing there, once they push on through, we should see some clearing here later on this afternoon. We're going to take a look at some other cameras out there. These are the Alert California cameras here, Bald Hill West, looking at a beautiful shot there. And again, you're seeing some of the clouds coming in with that disturbance, which I'll be talking about in our deeper dive forecast here in just a bit. So the clouds are moving in. It's not going to bring us much in the way of rain, if any. You may see a sprinkle or two, and you can see some of the clouds already starting to move in some areas. Not quite making its way into the valley yet, but that'll change here in the next, later this morning and early this afternoon. But there you can see looking out at Fort Jones. This is in Scott Valley. You can see some of the clouds that are moving in there as well. Let's check in with some of you this morning, see how everybody's doing. We've got a couple of people that are chiming in this morning, so let's give them a little bit of credit. We've got Rachel Maxey saying good morning with a big smiley face and a happy sunshine in there as well. Lisa Stevens, and of course she checks in every once in a while, so it's good to see you, Lisa. Good morning all, have a great day. We've also got James and Mandy Chappell saying it was a nice cool down. Absolutely, but it's going to be warming back up again, unfortunately. What a lovely morning it is. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Well, I'm glad you're having a good morning, Tina, and I hope your dog over there is also having a good morning as well. You can see Curtis Brown, regular out in west of Red Bluff there. Well, looks like it's going to be another fine day. Yes. There you go. That's a nice way to describe it. A nice fine day, Curtis Brown. And we have got Sherry Fater. I believe it's how you'd say that name. Good morning. We've also got Rowdy Kelly. And we do have, looks like a marine layer in Fortuna. So thank you, Rowdy Kelly, for that update. I always like to get your updates here along the coast, or really anywhere you are. If you have an interesting weather update, just be sure to on Facebook or YouTube. If you have the ability to chime in, if you have the ability to make a comment, I can see those comments right here. I'm looking at them right now. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us and chiming in as well. Well, what do you say we get to our deeper dive forecast, and we need to mention our sponsor at Wind River Resort and Casino. Enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, so taking a look at our photo of the day, I've been getting a few more photos coming in, so I want to share them. I want to encourage you to share your photos as well, because I love to see your photos, and I think a lot of people like to see the photos as well. Now, this is an image from last week. We saw a lot of thunderstorms last week, and many of you may have taken some beautiful shots of some of those towering cumulus clouds. This is in Anderson last Wednesday. I want to thank Don Banning for sending in this image, and you can do the same from the free Weather NorCal app. It's the easiest for me, folks, when it comes to sharing your photos, because it goes right to my weather computer and boom, I'm sharing it within seconds. So go to your app store, search for Weather NorCal, put a space between Weather NorCal, and you will see this icon right here from your Android and your iPhone device. And be sure to click that and install. Now, I'm very excited because the latest version has come out. We've got it here at Weather NorCal, and it's going to have you'll be able to have widgets on your phone. Yes, a Weather NorCal widget on your phone. How cool is that? Because here's the thing about the Weather NorCal app. It is a forecast that, for many select areas, not everywhere, because I can't forecast for every single community in the area. But what it does is I have zones for the entire viewing area, and I forecast for different locations, and then it interpolates based on that. So you get a forecast that is generated by me that goes to your phone, that goes to your app. And not only that, it's the same forecast that you're going to see right here and the same forecast that you're going to see on the website. It's also going to be the same forecast you'll see on the 24-hour streaming channel. All right, so temperatures right now are in the low to mid 60s for the valley, 70 degrees in Chico, 65 in Oroville, 43 right now in Alturas, and mid to upper 50s for the coast. So there are the clouds coming in this morning. You saw that on some of the cameras, right? We saw that especially after the north and west. Now there may be some light showers embedded in with this, but these are high based. So what that means is it's pretty high in the atmosphere where the base of the clouds are and the rain is coming from, and it's very dry at the surface. So most likely anything we do see falling from any of these clouds, at least for us here in Northern California, will evaporate before reaching the ground. However, that being said, Mother Nature always has a way of surprising us. So you see a sprinkle here or there in some of the mountains, don't be surprised, but I wouldn't cancel any outdoor plans over it. So there you can see the clouds this morning, and you can see that by midday they're kind of moving through. So you'll notice the clouds this morning in the valley increasing through the morning. In fact, I kind of look off to the west here. I'm kind of just starting to see the leading edge of some of those clouds moving in. So yes, in the next few hours, you're starting to notice more clouds moving in. Then by the second half of the day, they start to kind of move out. But you see that? Yeah, Futurecast picking up on a little bit of shower activity. So again, a sprinkle or two, sure, but most likely evaporating before reaching the ground, and then it starts to clear out here by this afternoon. Now notice the coast. You're still seeing some of that fog later on today, and especially going into tonight and tomorrow morning. But I do expect a lot of that fog to dissipate here as we go into Thursday afternoon, especially for northern Humboldt and into parts of Del Norte County as well, maybe around Humboldt Bay, maybe some breaks in the clouds. Afternoon clouds for some of the higher elevations, but still dry. And then Friday morning, look at this. Friday morning is kind of interesting. It's mainly Humboldt Bay that's seeing that fog, and then that quickly dissipates here through the day on Friday. A lot of sunshine for your Friday. Also warmer for the coast on Friday, and plenty of sunshine elsewhere for Northern California. So it's heating up. It's going to be heating up here. That mild air that's been in place, that's moving on out. What's going to replace that as that moves off to the east, come in behind it, is this ridge of high pressure right here. This has got some heat associated with it, and you're going to notice temperatures increasing by tomorrow especially, and Friday is when it really starts to kind of spike up a little bit here. But look at what happens as we go to the weekend. You see how this kind of expands northward and just starts to grow and get stronger. That means that's going to expand it into Northern California, and we see temperatures warm up even more for your Saturday and Sunday. That'll linger into Monday, but what we're starting to see happen is as we go through next week, this will start to retreat and begin to move on out. And by the middle and latter part of next week, that ridge of high pressure is really kind of much weaker, isn't it? You got the main area of heat over to our west. Now, we do have some heat coming in from the desert southwest, but not as strong as what we're going to see here over the weekend. So that's why we're going to continue with this little bit of a downward trend with our temperatures as we go through next week. But we still got to get through this bigger heat wave. Now, here's the thing, and this is one of the things I really do want to point out. We have been very fortunate to see a fairly mild summer so far. Yes, we've had a couple of spikes here and there, but for the most part, you think about the month of July and starting off even August, it's been below normal for quite a while. You know, temperatures around 100 degrees at times, but we can handle that. But when you start getting into that 105 and plus, that's when it starts getting a little bit more excessive. So I want you to be aware of the fact that you probably been getting used to just making plans and enjoying this more mild weather and being prepared. But I want you to understand and know that, especially as we kind of go into the weekend, that's when we expect the peak of this heat wave, right? If you have outdoor plans, if you're going to be going for a hike, even in the mountains, do note it's going to be a lot hotter than it has been over the past few weekends. So I want you to be prepared for that. I don't want you to be surprised. I want you to make sure you're bringing plenty of water if you continue with your plans, and taking breaks, getting in the shade, the works, right? So just think about that as those temperatures do start to slowly drop. They won't plummet, but they will start to slowly drop. And you can see here as we go toward the middle and latter part of next week, a little bit closer to normal for this time of the year. Now the lake levels, this is when people start getting concerned and they start getting upset that the water is being drained from the lake. Keep in mind that the water is there for a reason. It's for us to use, and it's for the state of California to use, and it's for water resources, and it's we got to use it during the summer season. That's what it's there for. These are reservoirs, and it just so happens that they're also big bodies of water that we can also have fun on and recreate on. But the lake levels start getting lower through the summer season. That's normal. That always happens, right? 70% is where we are right now. Now you think about, we were at close to, if not right on 100% several months ago. But again, as it's been dropping and as we've been using the water, it's dropping to 70%. And this is when people go, oh, the lakes are getting lower. Yes, they are. But look where we are historically speaking, 104%. 104% high. So we are above where we typically are this time of the year. Even more so for Trinity and even Lake Oroville. So just kind of bear that in mind because we are still looking at some pretty healthy lake levels. Wave heights are going to start to increase, especially later on this week. And we're beginning to see signs of that as we go into Thursday and even more so for Friday, Saturday. The winds are really picking up here along the coast. And I do think we're going to start to see some bigger waves as we go into really the end of this week and this weekend. So be aware of that if you're on the coast or heading to the coast. Probably going to be looking at some larger waves out there. North winds at about 5 to 10 knots. Your waves from the north at 4 feet at 5 seconds and from the west at 4 feet at about 12 seconds. All right, so here's your neighborhood forecast sponsored in part by Dignity Health. We're going to start off with Trinity County here for today, and you can see those temperatures are slowly increasing. Now by Friday, about 100 degrees for all intents and purposes. But we are looking at temperatures peaking Saturday, Sunday, Monday before we start to see a drop by Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Trinity County to the south, there you can see about 81 degrees for Wildwood, 84 in Ruth. Also for Hayfork, you're up to about 100 degrees on Friday and over 100 degrees for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and even possibly into Tuesday. Your Dignity Health North Coast neighborhood forecast, you can see temperatures are going to be in the mid-80s, give or take, although Red Crest about 76, 80 degrees in Honeydew, and 73 degrees for Shelter Cove. Out in Ferndale, 68 degrees, Fortuna, getting a little bit of that patchy fog out there, as reported from, who's been reporting? That was Rowdy Kelly saying marine layer in Fortuna. So yes, we got that marine layer in Fortuna out there this morning, so it is working its way in, right? 70 degrees in Fortuna for today, though. 72 degrees for Hydesville and Rio Dell, about 70. Let's take you up to the north, about 88 degrees in Hoopa, 91 for Willow Creek. Blue Lake about 73, and look at those inland areas. Yes, you're up to 100 degrees or higher by Friday, and even over that by the time we get into the weekend and early next week. Orleans today, you're at about 86 degrees today. We're going to call it partly cloudy skies really across the board because of that weak disturbance passing through. Here's a look at your Dignity Health Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. Temperatures in the right around 90 for the Highway 96 corridor, but generally around the mid-80s for I-5 there, with 86 for Montague and 85 degrees in Gazelle. Take you out to Scott Valley with about 86 degrees in Fort Jones, 85 in Greenview, 84 in Etna as well as Callahan. And your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast for central and eastern Siskiyou, there's about 82 degrees in Weed, 86 degrees for McLeod, and Tule Lake 81. Now, not quite 100 degrees for Mount Shasta, but man, it's getting close, right? 97 for Sunday, 98 degrees on Monday. Modoc County, and you can see, of course, those temperatures also getting closer to the upper 90s by the time we get to Sunday and Monday. And your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast for Bernie, I've got you up to about mid-90s by Sunday, Monday, but still not that bad for today with a high of about 85 degrees. Lake Amanor and Lassen Park for around the lake here, temperatures mainly in the low to mid-80s. There you can see about 81 degrees for the peninsula and about 84 degrees in Chester. Temperatures for Chester getting in the mid-90s by Sunday, Monday, but still not bad. Maybe this weekend head up to Lassen Park. I mean, look at that. Upper 70s for those highs over the weekend. I'll take that for sure. Down to the south, Paradise about 88 degrees, but Paradise you'll be up in the mid-90s by the weekend. And for Susanville, upper 90s to even around 100 by the time we get to the second half of the weekend and early next week. Here's your Dignity Health Valley neighborhood forecast to the south. You can see about 94 degrees in Corning, 93 degrees in Hamilton City, and 95 degrees in Oroville. And your 7-day forecast for Chico, temperatures around 100 degrees by Friday, and then lower, just a little over 100 degrees here over the weekend. I'll take you up to the north, 97 for the city of Shasta Lake, all the way down to Anderson. Cottonwood about 96 degrees, 96 for Palo Cedro, and Whiskeytown about 92, and Red Bluff 96, up to 102 by Friday, 103 or so by the time we get into Saturday and Sunday. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast for Redding. We're talking 100 degrees here, most likely by tomorrow. I mean, you're talking upper 90s to maybe around 100 degrees here by the time we get into Thursday. But really, that's what you're going to notice here is by the time we get into Friday, over 100 degrees 106 to 107 Saturday and Sunday. And temperatures slowly dropping by the time we get into next week. All right, folks, that's going to do it for your forecast here for today. Looks like we got one more little check-in this morning from Catherine Schmidt saying, another beautiful day. There we go. Another beautiful day in the neighborhood. Yes, as Mr. Rogers would say, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Of course, we got the 6 neighborhood forecasts. Be sure to check those out. By the way, you can always check out the latest video forecast and the neighborhood forecast. Here's what I've done here. And this is one of the things that when I first started Weather NorCal, I was kind of excited about this because it's something that I could really focus on. And we're going to take you to weathernorcal.com. Let's start a new page. And we're going to weathernorcal.com. All right, so just want to show you where you can get those neighborhood forecasts. So number 1 at the very top, see where it says neighborhoods? You go to Valley, Trinity, North Coast, Siskiyou, Modoc County, and Eastern. So you got that. And if you're more of a visual person, all you have to do is go to the bottom. Look at that. So let's say, for example, you want to check out the Valley neighborhood forecast. Do that. You click on it, and every morning I record a detailed forecast just for the Valley. And I also do another one for all the other 5 neighborhoods as well. Now, you don't have to just watch the video forecast, but you can read the discussion that I read up every day. Then you've got the hourly forecast, you've got the regional forecast, you got the 7-day forecast for the area. So yeah, I mean, just for those of you that just want to check out your particular area, maybe not the entire Northern California region because there's so many microclimates, maybe you really want to focus just and hone in on your particular area. So yeah, just something to kind of think about, and that's kind of what I try to focus on here and really try to give you the best tool. Weather NorCal, I think, can and will be and is the best tool for you when it comes to getting a local forecast for this area. So be sure to check out weathernorcal.com, get the free Weather NorCal app, utilize this. And I'm going to tell you this right now, Weather NorCal is growing, and I can certainly feel it in my bones. It's happening, and there are some things that I'm working on. What is that all about? Some exciting things possibly happening here. So you keep watching, keep checking in, keep sharing those posts on Facebook. Let's keep this thing growing. And if you are interested in advertising, you can always go to weathernorcal.com and click on the contact section and just write me a quick email or personal message me on Facebook, whatever, however you want to contact me, and we will talk about different types of advertising. For small businesses, large businesses, we can work out any kind of package deal for you that'll work best for you. Well, that's going to do it for us this morning, folks. What do you say we get to some of our cameras out there this morning, and we're going to start off with Soda Ridge. Absolutely gorgeous. In the meantime, I want to thank all of you for watching this morning and supporting Weather NorCal. I want to thank our sponsor, Wind River Resort and Casino, for sponsoring the Coffee with Krueger segment here, and we certainly appreciate that as well. Have yourselves a great Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow morning.